everybody, and welcome back to your favorite movie review podcast. That's right, Is It Kino? And we're here with a very special penultimate episode for one E-Bitch McSoy, reviewing with a very special guest. Folks, welcome to the foursome trio. I gotta rework this intro in my head. Welcome to the foursome trio, the four deadly horsemen from your wildest dreams. We're talking Mumpky Jones, E. Rich McCoy.
You're not locked in here with me. Wait, I fucked it up.
We're all fucking everything up today. Florian Herschel.
Yeah, I'm here.
And special Kino guest. He hasn't been on this show since Asperger was still around.
Oh, no.
One.
Oh, God.
Asterios Kokonos.
Thank you for having me. We're here to discuss one of my favorite comics and one of, I think, the most interesting movies you're ever going to talk about on this show.
Wow. You're a good guest to have because I had almost no interest in talking about this. We're, of course, talking about the ultimate cut. The Snyder cut, folks. They finally released it. The Snyder cut of one Watchmen, rated R. Now, why are we doing this, E-Rich? Why, for your penultimate episode until, I guess, John Wick comes out, did you want to talk about Watchmen?
All right, so back in the day when the Watchmen movie was released, I had just gotten into, really into superhero comics. And so I was watching The Dark Knight, and I saw this trailer, this amazing, mind-blowing trailer for a visionary Zack Snyder movie called Watchmen. And I was like, what the fuck is this? There's some crazy fucking blue guy. He's getting reassembled and shit.
His dick's hanging out everywhere.
His dick is out. His dick is out in the fucking movie. And I had to know what the fuck was going on here. So I read the book. And I was at some party and I was reading the last chapter of this book. Liar.
Wheel that one back.
No,
you were alone at home.
No.
You can be at a one-person party at a Kentucky Fried Chicken like I am every Saturday night.
No. It was one of those parties that your parents drag you to for them, essentially. So I was in the corner reading the last chapter of my comic.
You were at the kids' table and you're 20 years older than all the kids.
My mind was fucking blown when this vagina alien monster is transported into the middle of New York and everyone fucking dies.
Wait, is that what you're supposed to do when Mumpky interrupts you? You just keep plowing through it?
Oh, yeah. You haven't figured this out by now?
No, because on Boomer vs. Zoomer, he'll interrupt me, and then he'll make a joke, and then I'll be like, okay, I got to fix his joke somehow to make it work. And then we'll you just keep plowing ahead. Like Rorschach keeps plowing ahead in the face of Armageddon. Never compromise with Mumpky Jones.
That's right. I guess, which one am I if I'm not the Rorschach anymore? Am I the comedian now?
You're definitely the comedian as fuck, bro.
Okay, because in the thumbnail,
you're so red-pilled.
Florian made you the comedian in the thumbnail. I guess because he wants you to die.
You look so much like the comedian.
I know. Look, that's a compliment. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's handsome as fuck. I feel like I'm the Dan Dryberg of this group. Sometimes his dick don't work. He keeps pervert on some hot younger woman. Until she throws herself at him.
He's excellent in season 2 of Fargo.
I couldn't hear that over my own better joke. But also, Dan Dryberg. Don't forget, guys, he's got those coffee cups that say it's a pleasure to serve. He's got those Greek ass coffee cups in the bug. I love those coffee cups. Sometimes I'll go get coffee in New York City, even if I don't want it, just so I can walk around with one of those blue Greek coffee cups.
Sounds like a real superhero right there. Just
I guess I'm Dr. Manhattan because I'm the ultimate cuck.
Is that true?
I mean, Dr. Manhattan is perfectly fine with Lori sleeping with Dan just while he's aware of it the entire time.
Does that come with being the most powerful being in existence, just being open to being cuckolded?
Yeah.
You truly are an evolved person.
See, he has the exact same properties, whether he's cucked or uncucked. It makes no difference to the cosmos, you see?
All the atoms are the same.
Yeah.
All right, let's get down to business, folks. This is the first time I've seen any cut of the movie. I guess the best way to get into it was to just...
I'm so fucking sorry.
Oh, is this like...
What?
Is this cut
Sorry?
bad compared to the director's cut or the original?
This is one of the worst cuts of the movie.
No, you're absolutely wrong. There's no good version of this movie. So you might as well watch the 4-hour. And by the way, that's not to say I don't like it, but it's like, can we all just admit this movie's not good?
What?
This movie makes no sense without any kind of context to it.
What are you guys talking about? This is the only good superhero movie.
Oh, come on.
But give me some context. What is the difference between the 4-hour thing I just saw and the original and the director's cut?
No cartoons. There's no cartoons in the original movie.
Okay.
Also, the scene where who's the old guy? Mason.
Hollis Mason,
Hollis
the original
Mason.
Night Owl.
Right. The scene where the punks are beating the shit out of Hollis Mason, and he's flashing back to his super heroic previous life. That scene is not in the original cut of the movie, and actually, I think that's a great scene that should be in the movie. So.
Yeah. What's another thing about the super duper fucking cut? Yeah. I mean, I think the death of Hollis Mason is kind of important because it's like the death of innocence. It's the death of the old guard. Oh, this is what I wanted to say. Okay, in the comic book, the people that murder Hollis Mason are known as knot tops because they have kind of knots on the top of their head. Is that a racist term? I'm genuinely asking. I'm genuinely asking, is that a racist term?
Erich is our race relations expert on the show, so I guess he can answer.
It can't be right. It sounds more like a hipster thing to have a top knot.
Yeah, top knot is the...
Okay, they're called top... Okay, well, look, there's a man bun, but... All right, I'm Googling this. I was hoping one of you guys, because you guys seem to know all the racist terms in existence. So,
sure.
All right, so I'm looking this up
Typically, when I'm talking about knots, it's on one of my bestiality forums. So this is like a whole new world for me. Racism.
I don't get that joke. Oh, no. What is that? Wait, I hate to ask. What does that joke mean?
It's like an animal penis will knot inside of its mate.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a knot of rats. Just a bunch of rats knotted together.
The Rat King? No, not the Rat King.
Yeah, Rat
Erich, you know about like dogs and cats or whatever getting
What's the animal that has the hook-shaped penis?
I know
They just hook themselves in.
I know
is that a goose?
Ducks have penises that have like Wolverine's claws inside them so that
No,
Wait, I
that's
shouldn't.
That's cats.
They have, like, corkscrew
ducks have
penises.
a spiral penis.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's like
ducks have a corkscrew. Cats have like the fucking Morning Star dicks.
Hey, speaking of penises, is this the only movie to feature a full blue penis in it?
Yeah, and fully uncut, This is the best cut for sure.
Yeah, Erich, when you saw this movie in theaters, were you ready to see true masculine, the true face of masculinity, all 8 inches of it hanging in your face?
They should have real quick forgotten to CGI Billy Crudup for one of the scenes. So it would just be him with a bunch of like dots on his dick. One of the scenes in this movie.
It's just gently swaying back and forth.
One of those ping pong balls around the head of his dick.
The weird thing about the dick is this. It's like, I feel like you can't win with the dick. Because
I felt like I won as I was watching it.
Oh, okay. Maybe one person can win with the dick. Oh my God, if that's your
big blue dick.
Oh, so if you're super into Avatar, when you get tired of jerking it to Pandora shit, I guess you jerk it to Dr. Manhattan. No, but what I was going to say about the blue dick is like, if you don't, okay, for fucking decades, people are trying to make the Watchmen movie, Mumkey. Like, just to kind of give you some context, the fucking comic book came out in the 80s. It was a big goddamn deal. HBO tried to make it forever with Terry Gilliam, and it was like another Terry Gilliam Don Quixote. Erich, what's the Terry Gilliam thing?
Don Quixote is the newest one, but he made Brazil and he made Baron Munchausen, all those fucking movies.
Yeah, and the thing about Terry Gilliam was like he was trying to make Don Quixote forever. Like one time they were out in the desert shooting fucking Don Quixote, and a sandstorm ate up all their sets. Like another time, I think, like, I don't know if this is the truth, but it's similar to this. Like, whoever he cast as Don Quixote died, and then like so finally, like a fucking third time, he made the goddamn Don Quixote. So anyway, like Watchmen was always called like unfilmable, right. And then. So they're like, okay, we're gonna make this goddamn movie, and then you got all these choices to make, and the first choice is, are we gonna see Dr. Manhattan's dick? It's
to
like
dick or not to dick? That is the question.
Yeah, seriously, and it's like if you don't show his dick, well, then you're being disrespectful to the source material. Yeah. But if you show his dick, it's like it's real silly, guys. It's like a big blue dick, like waving around, and it's very distracting when he's like. Trying to discuss like love and humanity and his like his ever falling like sense of humanity and sense of self. And
well, yeah, let me ask you guys this, because I haven't read the source material and I'm very new to this world. I just saw it yesterday while I was incoherently drunk. We see Dr. Manhattan, he goes to a funeral for the comedian dressed in a full suit, so clearly he's capable of wearing clothing. Why does he choose to always be naked when he has guests over?
I think he's mostly like checked out of the world. Like he doesn't give a shit what people think about his dick. He's busy.
He's real hero. Finally.
Yeah, exactly. He's freeing the nipple. He's freeing the dick over here. Wow. Yeah, he's too busy fucking trying to work out tachyons and shit to worry about getting dressed.
He goes to the funeral wearing a suit. Why not just fucking photo Krypton on some pants or whatever magic shit he does?
I guess he must still have some form of decorum to say, I'm going to wear a suit to this funeral. And then I
mean, honestly, that is the answer. It's like he doesn't see the need for clothes, and that is supposed to represent his like ever increasing distance between him and his humanity. But like he knows that he has to fucking put on clothes to do an interview, and he knows, it's kind of like me with taking a shower. Like, I don't want to take a shower. Like, I don't see the point of it. I can't smell myself. I smell great. But it's like, fucking society makes me have to take a goddamn shower. I'll fucking do it, but I won't be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had a giant blue penis, I'd want to show it to everybody, too.
But, yeah. That's true.
But see, here's the interesting thing. If you had a giant blue penis, you would probably want to make your penis bigger. Like
he has that power. When we first see him, he's fucking gigantic.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing. It's like Dr. Manhattan has the ability to like make any part of him bigger or smaller. He could be walking around with like a 12-inch dick, but he would have to have humanity to know that it's cool to have a big dick. And the fact that he's got a regular-sized penis shows us how far he's gone.
Well, here's my question. In the one scene, and I don't know if this is in the original film or not, he's doing shadow clone jutsu to have sex with his hot girlfriend, and she says that his dick feels like a battery inside her. Do we know if he is, like, ripping his own penis for her pleasure at that point, or is he being a selfish lover?
Nah, he's just constantly lightning-y like that. That's just how he always is.
Yeah, but
wasn't she talking about his fingers in her mouth?
Shut the fuck up, Floyd. It doesn't matter.
No, we must discuss this.
I mean, it has
to be very accurate.
It's a sex scene. They're both naked. It's a sex scene. He has several shadow clones touching different parts of her body. I just figured they didn't have the technology available in 2009 to show full blue penetration. They didn't know how to make the CGI look real, so they just showed it from a top view of her head.
The fact that Zack Snyder, while making this movie, probably had to have one of his animators figure out the dick physics for this movie is pretty incredible to me.
Yeah, if you thought Dead or Alive titty physics were impressive, just wait till you see the dick in this movie.
Yeah. How much should it sway in the wind? Should it shrink at all?
When there's no gravity on Mars, should it start floating away?
Floating around, flopping around. Oh my god.
There's no gravity on Mars.
No, none.
He just does the propeller and that's how he gets around. That's all he needs.
There's a version of this movie where Zack Snyder essentially like watches the movie along with you and like points out things and shit. And I'd love to watch that. Yeah, there really is.
If you look closely in this scene, you can see Dr. Manhattan's dick.
I just wish that in every scene he's like, So you see his dick right here. You got like the little like detail here. I really worked with the animators to make sure that detail was there on his dick.
So in the official release in the cinema, was there a dick or is there a censored version for that?
Yeah, there was a dick. Oh, wait,
No,
yeah.
there is, because it's rated R. One of the interesting choices they make with this movie is because it's like the whole time people are watching it, they're like, all right, where's the dick? Where's the dick? Where's the dick? They show. No, I mean, but this is like the most famous. This is like one of the most famous comic books in the world, like Watchmen. Like, it's never gone out of print. It has consistently been a bestseller since the mid '80s. Like, Watchmen and The Dark Knight Returns were two comic books that came out in the '80s that revolutionized comic books. Like, before then, comics were only for kids, and after these comics come out, like, now graphic novels start opening up adult themes, and now you know it like the medium. So like people knew about the blue dick, so they're like, okay, we're gonna show you the blue dick in like scene 3, and then we're not gonna show you the blue dick for a while. So the whole time you're not sitting there going, "Where's the dick? Where's the dick? Where's the dick? Where's the dick?"
An interesting
It's
choice.
actually brilliant dick editing.
Well, one of Erich or Florian, they sent me a panel of the comic, and in the comic, the dick is much smaller. Zack Snyder went out of his way to make it hang far past the sack. I think the image I saw, it was like a centimeter. What the fuck?
Dicks were smaller in the 80s because nutrition was worse. So, like, you know, it's a more modern, like, I mean, a lot of Watchmen fans are upset that his dick is slightly bigger.
Yeah.
I mean,
I find that hard to believe.
Zack Snyder had to make some changes to the source material while he was adapting this movie for film, and I think it fits within his.
Oh, it doesn't fit anymore. It's way too big.
His dick pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
He made himself muscular as well, right? When he died and became Dr. Manhattan.
He became the perfect man.
He wasn't buff before, was he?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Oh, no, as Osterman? No, absolutely not. That's a very good point.
He's supposed to be a nerd, yeah.
Tiny dick, tiny muscles, and he just changes everything about himself just by thinking about it.
All right.
How big of a dick would you have if you rebuilt your entire body, Florian?
I don't know, I guess if I was a superhuman, I guess I could drag around a really big dick. Because if it was just a regular human, then the big dick would get in the way. But if you're a superhero, I guess it's like a cape. I guess I could go quite well.
It just seems inconvenient to have that big dick to lug around if you just stay in your apartment eating pizza all day, though. Like, why would you even need that?
What's the frog Pokemon that uses its tongue as a scarf? You could use your dick as a scarf.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it Froakie?
It was an evolved form of Froakie.
Okay. Hey. Boys, we talked about the dick. We got 10 minutes on the dick. I want to do more dick talk at the end, but right now I need to understand the cultural significance of this film, because Asterio said there is no good version of this movie, but I think at least one of you begs to differ. Could I hear a little bit about that before I chip in my own opinion?
Well, just the idea that these superheroes are fully political is just so amazing. Because in the other superhero movies, it's always just either good or bad, and that's literally the full extent of their morals. Even when you have Batman v Superman, it's just that they're just stupid. They're not political. They don't have any good reasons. And even in Civil War, that's not political either. It's just randomly chosen which side they're on. But in this one the guy is a Nazi, one guy is a crazy intellectual, and then he has a crazy plan to make everything into a giant hippie commune. Yeah, isn't that wild? It's just interesting on so many levels. And then you have this epic use of music in this movie. Just that Bob Dylan part was so good with the time
the opening credits. Yeah. Just seeing these superheroes in all these historical events, and then you got Nixon hiring the comedian to do all kinds of shady shit for him. That's the kind of shit I want to see. I don't want to see Batman beating up Superman and then realizing, oh, they actually have the same name for a mother. Isn't that fucking groundbreaking? No, in this movie, it makes a little more sense. I mean, it doesn't make fully sense. I think all of the things in the movie are kind of pointless because they
Well, I don't know if I should.
Do you think the 25 minutes of Gerard Butler voicing a pirate captain, do you think that might have been a little pointless in this cut of the film?
Well, I thought it was weird at first, but I guess it grew on me in the end. I like the conclusion to that story, and then the guy just says, "Oh, this is a stupid comic. Why did you sell this?" I was like,
Okay.
"Come on, it was a good conclusion."
So I think it should be said that Watchmen is kind of an unfilmable thing because it kind of inherently has to be in a read form. Throughout the comic book, there's the main story. Shut the fuck up. Let me talk. There's a main comic story, which is essentially the main plot of the movie. But then occasionally you'll have this kid reading the pirate comic. And the idea here is that as soon as superheroes entered into the scene and were like real players, comics can't be about superheroes anymore because they're in real life. So comics in this world are essentially all about pirates or all about these different things. So it's essentially a comic within that world. What they're also trying to get at is something that was completely taken out of this movie, is that the artist who wrote the comic has been hired by Ozymandias to create this crazy alien thing that he transports into New York City. And so you've got a lot of vestiges of that plot line that are completely useless to this movie since they changed it to make it so that Dr. Manhattan is blamed for everything that's going wrong. And so Bubastis, this like genetically modified lynx that Ozymandias has with him, just has no purpose in this movie. It's not trying to make a point about anything. It's just because he had that in the comic, he's going to have this in the movie. So in trying to perfectly adapt the comic for a movie form, but having to change that crazy fucking ending, Zack Snyder has like ultimately compromised his thing where he tries to one-for-one copy over from the comic. I don't know what you think about that, Asterios, because you also read the comic.
I think that the ending to this movie is better than the ending to the comic. I think that I think turning Dr. Manhattan into the like ultimate villain. Mm-hmm. I think it makes more sense than like an alien coming out of nowhere. I actually think that's smarter. But generally speaking, yeah, he doesn't change. He changes almost nothing, and that's a fucking problem.
Right.
Because you get lines where the night where Dan Dreiberg is like, "Whatever happened to the American dream?" Mm-hmm. And then the comedian's like, "It came true."
I think I cringed just a little bit during that scene.
And it's it works on a comic page because you're not really making that into something actors have to say. And then when the actors are saying those lines, they're really clunky, actually. So, yeah.
And the interesting thing is, you see how good of an actor Jeffrey Dean Morgan is. Yeah. Because a lot of this, like in the beginning, he's being beaten up and he's like, "It's a joke. It's all a damn joke." Only a matter of, and the first line of the movie is only a matter of time, I suppose. Again, bringing us back to the themes of time and watches and the Watchmen and all that shit. And he sells it. And whoever the fuck is playing Night Owl, he does a fucking good job of selling it. What's her name who played Malin Ackerman? She's 19 when they made this movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So she is nuts. She can't sell this dialogue. She doesn't have the tools.
She has an impossible task, kind of.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you cast someone in her 30s who had 15 years of acting experience under her belt, maybe she could have pulled off something.
Well, then she would have had to be cast as the grandma character if she was in her 30s.
Well, Carla Gugino, who was fucking 35 to 40, is kind of the ideal age, and she still looks great. They have to make her look super old in this movie.
Lots of CGI.
She plays the young version of Silk Spectre, the original one.
And that makeup looks fucking terrible. That is Carla Gugino looks like community theater, fucking what's the Sunset Boulevard? Terrible.
Yeah. Right.
Well,
sorry, you were saying Monkey.
Well, I was going to say, you guys bring up how some of the dialogue does not translate well to film, and I said it even gave me a bit of a cringe. But if we're going to evaluate whether or not the film is kino, I have to go on a little bit of a diatribe about why I find Zack Snyder's version, his vision, I always find it to be more kino than not. And Everich, we face this all the time. People say, how can we take your opinion seriously when you like Batman v Superman? Because you and me...
Well, you can't. The answer is you can't.
We both love that movie. But if I can explain, and I think it extends to Watchmen too, even though a lot of people would be very philosophically opposed to comparing these two films that are made by the same director from a company that the source materials from the same company. But my point is that Zack Snyder, as the visionary director, Zack Snyder, he films everything so cinematically, no matter how stupid it is. I would like to compare Batman v Superman to The Avengers. The Avengers, while it might be more smartly written, looks like a TV movie. A lot of those shots, very flat, uninteresting. In these Zack Snyder pictures, no matter how stupid the writing is, it always looks cinematic. I think everything is shot for the coolest slow motion action bullshit. It's got that the dreary blue-gray filter over everything. It looks cinematic, and I think there's a special region of kino where you take something that looks beautiful and looks cool, and you mix it with really cringy comic book tier dialogue, and when you force those things together, it becomes such a special form of schlock that I can't help but find Batman v Superman kino, and to some extent this movie as well, even though I don't think this one is perhaps as dumb as Batman v Superman. I don't know, what are your thoughts? Am I crazy here, people?
Wow, you're damning it with faint praise here. It's good because Batman v Superman is good somehow in your mind. Wow. I don't know what you guys...
that was an example of why I like one of his movies that other people hate.
Well, I just feel like this one is completely different than Batman v Superman.
I mean, it's cinematically shot the same way, and it has a fair number of cringy dialogue of the movie trying to be more serious. Like, pretty much anything Rorschach says, maybe it was brand new and fresh in 2009, but these days it seems so cliche and like a parody of itself. Maybe that's what it was intended to be when it was written, but it doesn't come across as genuinely cool anymore, does it?
Well, I mean, I don't think you're I don't think you're supposed to find Rorschach cool. Like, Rorschach is supposed to be like, what if they were a real life Batman? Yeah. You know, like he would be absolutely terrifying. He would be crippling people.
Literally be a psychopath, yeah.
He would literally be a psychopath.
Right.
Like,
but the dialogue he has, like in his voiceover, I feel like is intended to be cool. Like, this city is full of scum, and I feel like there are people who think that's genuinely really epic and cool, and they're like putting that on t-shirts, and I find that kind of shit to be cringy. I don't know.
I think it's that Zack Snyder finds it cool, and that's the problem. Because here's the thing with Rorschach. Yeah. Like, Rorschach thinks he's tough. He's constantly talking to himself. like he's like, the city will beg me. Like, Rorschach says, like, the city will beg me to save it, and I will say no. That is exactly what that guy said when he was like, when you studied the drink, I studied the blade, and now you have the gall to ask me for forgiveness. Like, the idea behind Rorschach is that he's like a redheaded goober who thinks he's cool, but he's actually like a fucking goober. Like, he has to wear this mask because he's a goon. He looks like fucking Archie Andrews.
Now, does that come across more in the comic? Because in the movie, I always had the impression that he was supposed to be like the cool narrator the whole time. But maybe I was just fucking drunk.
No. I think this is Zack Snyder. Like, I think Zack Snyder thinks Rorschach is fucking dope as shit.
Yeah, because he's posing and doing all this crazy shit. Yeah. He uses the hairspray can to fucking light people on fire, and he's like posing on balconies and shit while lightning strikes behind him. It is entirely Zack Snyder. Everything has to be the coolest fucking version of it because everything is awesome. Which
is why I think it ascends to schlock kino to me, because it does. He goes out of his way to make everything cool, even when it's like not cool in the first place.
Right.
Like Batman hitting Superman with a sink is stupid in theory, but then in execution it's fucking hilarious and awesome.
Wow. But it wouldn't do anything, damn it. Anyways, I really think
he had crypto gas in him, so his fucking sink would hurt him.
Oh yeah, I guess so. But anyways, Rorschach is really cool and amazing. The thing is that he's also insane. He also just constantly spouts off how he's just morally correct and everyone else is just degenerate, and you can totally tell that he's some kind of Elliot Rodger superhero.
Do you relate to this character, Florian? You're the smartest guy in the room, and you could take all of us out at any moment.
Rorschach is just
He's not that smart. He's what, Paul?
That might be why that might be why I find him cliches, because I spent the last 8 years of my life on 4chan, and they all act like this guy all the time.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, but that's no good if they're not going to beat up bad guys. Come on.
Well,
having a 4chan superhero is fucking amazing.
Wait, is Rorschach now the 4chan superhero?
Oh, I think he's more of an Elliot Rodger, but sure.
Okay. Well, I guess, 4chan superhero, Elliot Rodger, it checks out.
Did he ever go on 4chan? Is that one of his things?
He was on bodybuilding.com.
Oh, it's basically the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Learning about how Dr. Manhattan's penis is so much bigger than his.
I thought the average was 4. This is most unsettling. Well,
oh yeah, that fucking Chad Dr. Manhattan, huh?
Okay,
well, the best thing is
Florian, you disagree with me that this movie is kino because it's expertly crafted schlock, and you in fact find it to be kino of genuine value.
Well, the thing is that I don't care about schlock in any way. I just generally like the things I like. I don't like them because they're incompetently made.
Well, you've never liked anything sort of ironically, or because it was like it's like an amazing emotional journey, even though it's objectively not great?
I don't know what you mean by that.
You know, like Troll 2 or Birdemic or Sharknado or...
Well, how is that?
Monkey Jones stops a school shooting.
No, that movie's genuinely good.
All of these.
That's what I meant. It's super kino.
Oh yeah, that one might be
kino.
schlock. Yeah, okay, I guess I'm convinced.
I mean, Florian, like, if you like this movie, you know, tell us that you like it. Tell us why you like it. Like,
I like it
I'm really
too.
interested.
You're allowed.
I also like this movie. I don't think it's good, but I also don't think it's like so good it's bad. It's really interesting to me. This movie reminds me of like when public television makes their version of A Tale of Two Cities, or when public television makes their like recreation of I don't know, the Sense and Sensibility. Like, they shoot everything. It's way too long. But if you've read the book, like, you kind of watch it after class. It's a treat. Like, I think this movie is cool and interesting because I love the comic so much. So it's fun to see the comic I love so much come to life with like $200 million and incredibly good actors, like, and super good cinematography and incredible special effects. It's still not good, but it's so interesting to watch. It's like the world's coolest screensaver.
So in what way is it not good then?
Because of the fucking dialogue. Like, you can't. The thing is, if you change it, then you're changing a classic, and if you don't change it, it's the Dr. Manhattan's dick problem. You can't win either way.
Well, I completely disagree, because I don't think there's any superhero movie that has dialogue that's better than this. I just don't see how it could be better than this. How is a superhero gonna say anything that's gonna make sense if it's not like this?
There's the scene where Dr. Manhattan is in the Vietnamese village or whatever with the comedian, and the Vietnamese woman that he's knocked up slashes his face.
It's a great scene. I was dying laughing at that scene.
He fucking shoots that pregnant woman, and comedian then turns around and says, like, you could have turned the gun into fucking snowflakes. You could have turned the bullet into mercury or whatever the fuck he says. And that line is so good in the comic, but then having to have Jeffrey Dean Morgan say it, it just doesn't come out right. Like, it just doesn't translate correctly. And it's just way too wordy, and it doesn't work. What
more do you want? He just shot a woman because she was pregnant and she insulted him and sliced him up. Why do you care what they say after that? Can't you just enjoy what happened? God damn it.
Because the criticism is that the dialogue doesn't sound right coming out of actors. That's why.
Well, what could they possibly say after that happens that makes any sense? I just don't get it. You expect these people to say things that make sense after those kind of things happen? Why would they make sense? How could they be in a position where things like that happen if they made any fucking sense?
I think it's more of, and I haven't read the comic, but I feel like the comic is a lot smarter than the movie, and that a lot of the dialogue was probably more meaningful and philosophical. So then to copy it, perhaps almost word for word, it sounds a little more robotic and less human. Hearing people say it out loud, like they could have maybe not necessarily dumbed it down, but made it less technical and less philosophical.
Right, you adapt it so that it sounds like something a person would say in that moment. Like, comedian doesn't have to get so technical to like let you know exactly what Dr. Manhattan can do in that situation. He could just say, you could have done something. You could have stopped this, but you didn't. You did nothing.
And that is like the weird thing. Like, think of a Shakespeare translation. Like, you could change all the thous and these to fucking, yous and I's, and instead of saying longsword, they could say like gat or fucking. I mean, like in the fucking 90s Romeo and Juliet remake with Leonardo DiCaprio, like they're pulling out handguns and they're calling them longswords and shit.
Right, Romeo plus Juliet.
Yes, that's exactly what that movie was called.
I finally got to see titties in school.
You did?
Yeah, the movie has titties in it, and the teacher forgot.
You watched Romeo plus Juliet?
Yeah, my freshman year of high school.
That's hot as
Wow.
Wasn't that actress underage too? Did my school show me child pornography?
Sounds like it, Monkey Joe.
Whoa! Was E-Rich a substitute teacher that day?
Oh my God!
I time
We've come
traveled.
full circle. This is how you really met Erich. Oh my God!
Yeah, he was my teacher in school.
Now you're done learning. You finally learned everything you could from Erich. Oh, what a touching story.
It is. It's weird because it's like, well, you have to love Watchmen this much to make a movie with this much fidelity. And also to convince Warner Brothers to spend $200 million on this
To
fucking
make that
movie.
exact movie. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then you're not going to change dialogue because you love it so much.
Right.
But I don't know. Should someone who's this in love with this comic
Yeah,
really
it is
be
the ultimate
directing
kind
it?
of, it's the ultimate hubristic kind of decision, is to say we don't really have to change anything about the source material. It's good enough to float how it is, and it'll be great. Asterios, did you know what the version that the Suits wanted to make?
Oh God, no! What did they want to do?
It was going to be post 9/11.
Oh,
It would have been in like the shadow of terrorism, and it would be the Watchmen going around the Middle East fucking over terrorists and shit.
No Nixon? Are you kidding me? How could you make Watchmen with no Nixon?
Yeah, I
That
need
is
bad
very-
prosthetic Nixon.
completely change what this story is.
I guess it could be cool, but not nearly as cool.
I mean, fucking what? The other guy that made the most important comic of the 80s, Frank Miller, who made The Dark Knight Returns, he was going to do a comic called Holy Terror, Batman.
Right.
And it was called Holy Terror Batman, and it was going to be Batman after 9/11 hunting down Osama bin Laden and punching him a lot. And DC even greenlit it, and then they were
Of course they did. That sounds awesome. Why was it not made?
I think, well, because it's maybe I mean, speaking of 9/11, one of my biggest problems with this movie is how many fucking times Zack Snyder puts the goddamn towers in there. Like the towers are in there in the funeral, and the towers are in there every time Vate's in his office. There's definitely a fucking scene where like there's a big balloon heading towards the fucking towers, and I feel like the problem isn't that that's like incredibly offensive. It's that Zack Snyder's kind of like a child. Like he doesn't understand like the depths of horror that were the September 11th attacks. He's just like, oh, these would be great for my movie, my superhero movie. 9/11 bad.
Yeah, but
I'm going to put the towers in.
Doesn't the movie take place during the Cold War?
Takes place in the 80s.
You do not have to put the Twin Towers in every single establishing
Oh, we don't
shot.
have to erase history.
I'm not saying.
Besides, doesn't it celebrate the Twin Towers that they're still there? Doesn't it mean something that they were a landmark even back then?
Okay, free speech warriors, you guys are overthinking
Free
this.
speech! What
you
the
guys wanna
fuck?
put the
It's part of the skyline of the 80s.
It's fantastic. I know.
It's not fucking offensive to have buildings that were there during the time period in the film.
How is it offensive? It's a good thing that they're not destroyed.
Sure. Let me explain how it's offensive. Okay. Number one, when you're trucking a camera in through the letters cemetery in a cemetery, and you've got the Twin Towers between the E and the Y.
Hey, to be fair,
do that.
Asterios,
Number two, when you have a balloon
I got
straight towards this, when you have a balloon heading straight towards the Twin Towers, like, that's weird. I'm not saying erase history, but this guy is clearly using them to get a little bit of emotional jizz out, and it's just weird.
No, I'll have you know, during that cemetery scene, when we see the Twin Towers between the letters on the sign in the cemetery, Zack Snyder is expertly playing The Sound of Silence, that great song, and I think it makes up for everything.
Yeah, see, he uses music kind of as a cheat. And
this was the original Suicide Squad, I feel like, because every song, again, I felt like was already cliche as fuck.
Yeah, he gets away with it too. Like, literally, in the opening sequence, he's playing The Times They Are Changing to show us that time itself is changing. And it's kind of like, all right, Zack Snyder, you're lucky I like this song so much, or I wouldn't. And then the same thing with Sound of Silence. It's like, this is the fucking song they play at every funeral, in every fucking scene, in every goddamn movie. But it's like, okay, Zack Snyder, I really do like Simon and Garfunkel. You gotta pass on this.
Yeah, like they play Flight of the Valkyries when Dr. Manhattan is blowing the shit out of Vietnamese.
The movie is anything but subtle.
Dr. Manhattan is the perfect avatar for Marky Mark Wahlberg. He is literally blowing up the Vietnam footage.
Why didn't they have that song in the film?
Didn't you make that 9/11 song Asterios? How can you be outraged with this? What is this incredible depths of hypocrisy going on here?
It's not that I'm outraged. It's just, if you're gonna use 9/11, how about you use it intelligently?
The buildings are not called 9/11.
For a song, is that intelligently? Oh my god!
Like I just think this guy's like, ooh, I like the color red and the color blue and the color 9/11. Like, there's that fucking movie. What is it? The one with I talk like this. Oh, Nicolas Cage. There's that movie where Nicolas Cage figures out the math equation, like where everyone's gonna die. You know that fucking movie?
No, wait, Knowing?
Yeah, Knowing. He finds a math equation and it shows that people are gonna die. You guys know that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, look, that's pretty much it. He finds a math equation that shows the dates that people are going to die in the future. And so there's a montage sequence where he's fucking drawing all these dates. And then at one point he like draws like 9/11, 2001. Yeah. And it's like, do we really need to use 9/11 as a plot point in the movie Knowing starring Nicolas Cage? Like, can we use this correctly, please?
Yeah, but the way it's used in this movie is it's the skyline of New York in the 1980s. Why do we have to define the 1980s skyline by the September 11 attacks?
I buy what Asterios is saying, which is essentially that Zack Snyder is scoring cheap heat off of Remember the Towers.
This is an alternate timeline where the towers probably never even fall because New York gets destroyed anyway.
You don't have to use them every single time you get the chance.
Yeah, use them once.
They're very tall.
Yeah.
Use them once.
They're usually in the background of any view.
There are a million billion establishing shots of things in the 80s and 90s that do not prominently feature the Twin Towers.
So, Asterios,
unlike
if you were making a movie in Paris that takes place in 2015, would you say, hey, get those shots of the Sistine or the whatever fucking thing just burned down?
Notre Dame?
Yeah, get Notre Dame out of the background. That's offensive. We can't have time-accurate buildings in this movie.
Well, I'll do you one better. Let's say we're shooting a movie in Paris and we want to establish that it's Paris. All right, a
bunch of women, I assume, with their heads covered in a veil, if it's taking place in the modern day. Is that what you meant? Keep going.
I'm going to keep going. But only because
Paris
I
is
like
a
the
very
point I'm about to
diverse
make.
city these
What I'm
days
saying-
with
what
lots
I'm
of
saying
Muslim
is,
women.
If you were trying to, if every single establishing shot of Paris in your movie had the Eiffel Tower in it, you'd be like, okay, I get it.
Isn't that every
Paris.
movie?
Once or twice.
I think every movie
I feel like
that goes
you
to
guys
Paris
are
shows the Eiffel
intentionally
Tower.
not getting my point. So I feel like you guys are just. I mean, if I'm being trolled, just tell me.
No, I'm not trolling. I genuinely find the boomer criticism that showing those buildings in the movie was offensive to be a weird take.
Well, those are your words, not mine. What I'm saying
You
is
said offensive
dumb.
earlier.
I said no, I didn't. Let's rewind the tape.
You
Hold
did.
on, I have Twitch right here. What's the time code?
Florian, did he say the word offensive?
Yeah, you definitely said offensive.
I may
Time code is 9/11.
Oh no!
I may have said the word offensive. I'm not. I'm saying it's dumb. It's that this kid's
okay.
an idiot playing with his toys. Know how your fucking toys work if you're going to play with them. I'm not saying you can't use 9/11 in a movie. How about we use it intelligently?
Okay.
I think what really is happening is that you want the terrorists to win. You know, they've blown up the Twin Towers, and now you need to finish the job. You need to erase them from history. I don't know why. Why are you like this? Why must they be destroyed even in history?
What did 9/11 ever do to you, Asterios? Okay. E-Rich, why else do you want to talk about this movie?
It is absolutely insane. The cartoon part of the movie, I don't think is even that well done, and it grinds the movie to a halt approximately 5 or 6 times.
And it very much confused me because in the opening credits, Gerard Butler gets second billing, and I was like, oh, I didn't know he was in this movie. What, he's fresh off a 300 jumping into this other Zack Snyder flick? But then he never shows up, and I'm wondering, where the fuck is Gerard Butler in this?
Right. He was supposed to have a part in the actual movie, but he had something else to do, I guess, and so wasn't in it. And so when Zack Snyder said, oh, okay, we're also going to do this cartoon, they gave him the part.
Has a man with so minor a role ever gotten second billing in a 4-hour movie before?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, the movie is intricate with sequences where a comic book, or no, like a news stall shop, essentially. There's an old guy who's selling the papers, and Rorschach walks by every now and then, and this black kid is reading the comic, and basically that's just how we get into the comic every single time. Those scenes weren't really in the original cut of the movie, so when those two characters run at the screen while the crazy nuclear explosion things are going off, you have no context for that. So essentially this cut of the movie adds those back in.
And that's why you made us watch this one and not the superior director's
That's the very
cut.
reason. That's the only reason.
Damn.
I had never seen this cut of the movie before. I just knew that it existed. I knew that I like Watchmen, and I knew that any movie that is this ambitious to make like almost a 4-hour cut of a thing in order to make it more like the source material must be insane and must be worth talking about in some way, shape, or form. So,
and I hope
was
that
wrong.
one
It's
day,
bad.
I hope Justice League gets the same treatment. We need that Snyder cut, 4-hour Snyder cut, people. Cut out that
Hashtag
Joss
release the
Whedon,
Snyder cut.
Joss Whedon bullshit, snark and quips in my Justice League movie. There can be no joy in this film. I need it to be gritty and sad the whole time for 4 hours.
That does sound pretty beautiful. Damn, if only we could have had that version, huh?
If only. Asterios,
Did I break
are you mad at us,
Asterios?
Asterios? I'm sorry.
No, everything's fine.
Oh no. How many I guess so what Verge articles are you looking up to see why the Twin Towers should not be used in this film?
Just fucking use them once. It's not that. Look, you guys ever watch Sports Night?
No.
Okay. Do you guys know what Sports Night is?
No.
I only know
Okay.
that it's a Aaron Sorkin thing, right?
Okay. How about this? Have you guys ever
Never
watched
heard of it.
Friends?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that 9/11 episode I thought was in poor taste. Joey should not have been cracking jokes the whole time.
Joey shouldn't have been window washing the towers when planes.
A woman saw the tower explode and she gasped, and Joey looked at her and said, "How you doing?" I said, "Whoa, Joey, now's not the time to be hitting on women. It's crisis in New York." Anyway,
Some
why
big
are you
total
asking us
shifts in
about
this
Friends,
episode.
Asterios?
Oh, because there's Twin Towers and a lot of establishing shots in Friends,
Yeah.
and it's just a little weird.
Well, that show
'Cause it'll be
was
Oh my
made
God.
before 2001, right?
So,
yes.
so he really
yes.
does
Excuse me. Yes,
Oh.
I'm not claiming that there's a time paradox. I'm not saying, oh my God, there's
shouldn't be
evidence
there.
of the Twin Towers
So,
here.
what do you want them to go back and edit out those shots, or what?
Interestingly, they did do that in the aftermath of 9/11. Months
In the
after,
reruns, they did.
Yes, months
Wow.
months after 9/11, the producers' Friends removed all the shots of the Twin Towers and the establishing shots because they were like, this is a little weird that like we're gonna see a big shot of these buildings that were destroyed and 3,000 people died, and then it's like Chandler's trapped in an ATM. Like,
I don't
oh
know,
my
man.
God. Chandler has a duck and a goose. Now, I'm not saying the producers were right to do that. In fact, like, I wrote a whole thing about how that was stupid.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but
on the same
yes, yes, free speech warriors. You are.
No, it's
being
not
listened
about
to
being
and
a
heard.
free speech warrior. It's about respecting history and not altering your art because history in the real world changed. That seems crazy to me.
If Zack
Again,
Snyder wants to have the Twin Towers in the background of every fucking shot in Watchmen, more power to him, I guess. But
But why would you
doesn't-
edit them out of Friends? Like,
And,
they existed,
I mean, they did. I'm not saying it was a good idea.
and they were
I'm just
good
saying it's
friends, too.
I'm just saying that it's something that happened. And again, Loki, I feel like you are making this very black and white. I'm not saying you should censor anything. What I'm saying is this is like a real serious thing that happened, and when you use it, you should probably use it with some kind of respect.
This whole respecting, I don't know, it's a new concept to us Zoomers. We're not familiar with it.
Yes, I can fucking
It's more of a
tell,
boomer
yes.
thing, I think.
I suppose it might be, yes.
You really wrote up like an article about why it was stupid to take the Twin Towers out of the reruns of Friends?
Yeah, I wrote a fucking article where like the people made a porno and they made like a softcore porno in New York, and they were a bunch of establishing shots of the Twin Towers. And so it was like an email chain between producers where they were like, isn't it disrespectful to have the towers butt fuck sluts go nuts? And then another guy was like, but to not have the towers and there would be to let the terrorists win and say that this never happened. And then another guy's going, yeah, but it's gonna make it real hard to jerk off to completion when the nurse when the nurse gives that guy a blowjob to fix his erectile dysfunction. And then another guy's like, well, to say that the Twin Towers were never there in the background of the bikini, blah blah, like, you get the joke. Yeah, I wrote a whole thing about it.
Well, the thing is that it's really central to the premise of that porno that you have the dual vibrator and the Twin Towers in the background, because it's such a perfect synergy of those two towers and those two dildos.
Especially when the two sexy twins come in to finish off the guy. It's like, well, there goes the foreshadowing of the Twin Towers shot. Now these twins are just here apropos of nothing.
And then in the end, the Twin Towers just come all over the place.
No, when he comes, like the symbolism of the climax is that you can see the window, the plane hits the towers right when he comes. The ultimate climax. See, how's that for respect?
trying to think of a jet fuel can melt steel beams joke, but it's not coming.
Cum fuel can't melt my erection. What?
Sure,
Do you guys
why
have
not?
any final thoughts on this film before I pass out?
I used to like this movie quite a lot when I was a youngster who was reading the Watchmen comic and saw it mostly translated onto screen. I was so fucking happy. But now when I watch this movie, I get almost no joy from it because Zack Snyder is essentially just making the ultra actiony version of Watchmen that tries to be as loyal to the original comic as possible, but tends to like miss out on what really matters about it. And it's pretty sad to watch at times.
Wow.
Because those moments tend to like clang on the floor rather than really singing. And partially it's like Malin Ackerman is one of the main characters and really has to deliver so much of the movie, and she's not great in this. I don't think that's her fault. I think that's Zack Snyder's fault. And just a lot of these things don't work as well as they should because it's great source material that it just wasn't adapted. He chose not to really adapt it. The only thing he changed was the ending. And personally, I like the crazy fucking ending. It's not an actual space alien. I do like that insanity.
Man, to me, this movie just reminds me of all the things that superheroes could be. We've seen Captain Marvel, we've seen Shazam, and then we see Watchmen, which is like 10 times better than those two. And now you guys are complaining about all kinds of crazy nitpicks in this flawless masterpiece. It is quite crazy.
Have you read the book, Florian?
The book? You mean the comic?
Yeah, the comic book.
I mean, it comes
I
in
didn't
book
get
form.
past the art style. I thought I might read it. I'm not sure. It's not as.
All right.
I mean, I guess it looks kind of like that animated part in the movie in a way. So I guess that makes sense. And then that's what remains of the art style, and you don't like it. That's pretty funny. But this.
I was going to say, I want to know if everybody thinks this is Kino, and I wanted to start with the stereos.
Oh, I think this is incredibly Kino because it is because it's like a true accomplishment. It's not good. Like, and don't forget that. It's kind of like, what if somebody made an expertly made like piece of furniture and like all the joints were correct and it was sanded the right way and they used the right screws and it was like a fucking but then you look at it and it's like, yeah, but it sucks. Like, look at this thing, it fucking sucks. Like,
well, you can't sit on it. Like, it's not the function of it doesn't actually serve what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and they stenciled like the Twin Towers into the back of the cushion, and you're like, why is that even there? You could have made the couch without it.
Yes, it would be weird. It would kind of stick out like a weird sore thumb. It would be kind of weird and distracting. But then if someone told you to erase the Twin Towers from the back of that chair and someone else went, oh, are you saying they never existed? But like to find another landmark example, in New York City, we have this giant new building and it's called The Landing. It's like 10 stories tall. It took years to make. Tall. It's like a huge, crazy new landmark. Like some visionary artist made it and everybody voted and they spent 10 goddamn years on it. And then you look at it and it kind of looks like a big piece of shit. But it's like, well, you got to respect that a bunch of people were employed to make this thing. God bless it. At least some people worked for a while. An artist sold an idea. It isn't that enough, kinda?
Okay, can you name me one superhero movie that's better than this?
Dark Knight.
The Avengers?
Infinity War?
Infinity War is definitely better than this.
Really?
Captain America, the Winter Soldier?
Captain America, the Winter Soldier is great.
The dialogue in all of the Marvel stuff is 10 times worse than this. I don't understand.
But you'll notice there's much, much less of it. Like, that's the fucking thing. It's like, yeah, superhero dialogue is bad. And these guys are often not hired for their ability to act. So there's not a lot of fucking talking in the Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It's a lot of a guy going, oh, Bucky, you were my friend. And then 40 minutes of punching.
That is not right. There's so much talking in those movies, and it's really painful. They always some smart shit that they gotta say. It really hurts.
I think the difference between, and it might be a difference between modern day Marvel versus DC, but in Marvel it's more lighthearted and it's characters quipping, and it's not trying to be pseudo intellectual. Whereas I think this movie, maybe the book is actually high philosophical art, but the movie came across when I'm hearing actors in these costumes saying these pseudo-intellectual things as kind of embarrassing. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Yeah, see,
I see.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's all right. I kind of see this movie as like the ultimate rabbit's foot. As like, I got exactly what I wanted and it didn't turn out to be great.
Yes. Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't cut like a line of dialogue.
No,
and you can tell that really makes his dick hard. Like, and it's not good. I mean, Florian, I think what you might, I mean, I think it's kind of similar. Like, you can't get past the art style of the graphic novel. We can't get past like the acting style of the movie. But I think what you really want is like an intelligent superhero story. And maybe you should just be looking at like comic books for that kind of shit. Because like, I wonder if you're more taken with the premise and the concept and the political opinions than the 3 hours and 35 minutes of footage you watch.
Right.
Yeah, but what you're what you're advocating for is just throwing that all out with just throwing out that whole baby with the bathwater. We're just gonna have only stupid shit from now on.
No, because me and Asterios, and I think Erich too, we all said that the movie is Kino.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's a noble failure. Like it tried its
Yes.
best to be the thing it was being. It actually succeeded in adapting the comic book. It's just that when you try to do that, it just doesn't work out as well as you'd hope. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's just the fact that it's not Marvel or DC is already really good.
It is
because-
DC.
It is DC.
And it's essentially characters who are just kind of rip-offs of characters you know.
Wait, this is DC, really?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
A, it is straight up DC Comics. B, like Dr. Manhattan is Superman, and Night Owl is. The comedian is Captain America. He's even dressed like Captain America.
Yeah,
He
but-
has
but-
big American stars on his goddamn shoulder
But if
pads.
it's DC, why does it have to be a parody of other comics? Whatever.
because I
guess
think
that
the
makes
Watchmen-
He's
sense.
making a statement.
Yeah,
for
wasn't
him.
the Watchmen comic
Alan
like
Moore.
it was like a satire of the comic book industry, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
guess that
essentially-
makes sense.
Yeah, it was kind of like, well, what if these people were real? Like, what if a guy really did dress up in a mask and terrify people? It would be
if these-
horrifying.
Right.
Like,
And if these people were on a superhero team together, one of them would try to rape the other. Like
Yeah.
one of them would be a lesbian. It's basically trying to apply real dynamics of people and identities to people as if they were superheroes and really on a team with each other.
And one of them is a lynched black man.
Whoa!
No, he's wait. Actually,
I believe he's
Serbian.
and even that, that was like a reference to Wonder Woman and her bondage shit.
What?
Like,
No, he has a noose around his neck. What?
Yes, just like Wonder Woman uses a rope to tie people up. The guy that created Wonder Woman was super into bondage. I'm not kidding. Was
black.
super into bondage and fetish shit. And
Yeah,
so
I gotta say you're definitely wrong about that one. He's definitely a
Yes.
lynched black man. Look at him.
the hero's
What's
name
it
is
called?
Hooded Justice.
Hooded.
Hooded Justice.
Is that in a reference
you
to
saying-
perhaps an uncircumcised penis?
Is it a
Hooded
reference to the hood? The neighborhood?
All right, guys. We've talked about this for over an hour, and we haven't even really talked about the plot or the meaning behind the film.
I know,
So
I had so
very,
much to
very,
say.
very briefly, or I guess as long as you want, Florian, can somebody explain this movie to me? Because I barely even remember what I watched, let alone any deep philosophical meaning.
Well, and I guess the main thing is that we have this character who is basically God, Dr. Manhattan, and he has so many powers, but then for some reason he can't see the future anymore, and that's a real conundrum. But I guess it's, well, we obviously saw it, and it turns out that it was the other intellectual
Ozymandias.
guy. Yeah. Ozymandias? Right.
Yeah, Ozymandias.
So he basically manipulated everyone into creating his perfect utopia, and then he creates these explosions and blames Dr. Manhattan for it. And the thing is that it doesn't really make any sense, but I guess it's interesting anyways, because none of that was necessary. It just on any level, it was completely unnecessary, because what you have is Dr. Manhattan, who has the power to see the future and the power to stop, I guess, nuclear explosions, to teleport things. So it's completely unnecessary to find a solution to this problem of the Cold War, because he could have just predicted where it starts and then ended it.
Florian, the entire problem here is that Dr. Manhattan exists, essentially. Like, he is such a hugely weighted force on the United States side that it's made the Russians so testy that they are actually willing to nuke us. We know that the actual Cold War did not end in anybody getting nuked, but having one, like, the Superman exists and he's American, God exists and he's American, like, that is such a huge existential threat to Russia. They're willing to nuke us now. So Ozymandias needs to get rid of that essential force, and to blame him and unite the world around saying this guy is now a bad guy is the only way he.
But how could they possibly nuke America when there is Dr. Manhattan? He could so easily just stop them if no one would interfere with him.
they don't actually know that he will or can or will.
Yeah, they addressed this very early in the film.
That's wrong, actually, because that's already after.
Florian, you can't fucking say it's wrong because it doesn't happen in the movie that he stops every single one.
Also they addressed this very early on. Somebody asked, like, could Dr. Manhattan stop every bomb? Like, if Russia launched all its bombs at us, Dr. Manhattan could stop 99% of them. If even 1% get through, all life on Earth ends. Like, Doctor.
True.
Well, I mean, they say it in the movie, so. I mean, I guess what you're saying is if Dr. Manhattan did exist, he would be able to stop them all.
I mean, we already have nuclear bombs going off in the movie. If he let 1% through, that wouldn't have been worse than the ending we had. And the thing is, at this point, Dr. Manhattan is already handicapped. He already has the kryptonite because Ozymandias is jamming his future vision. So if he has future vision, he can easily prevent these bombs. He can just stop them before they launch.
But that's entirely Ozymandias' like plan. Like, he's trying to frustrate John, Dr. Manhattan, and like essentially push all of this stuff to make him unstable. Like, push it so that he thinks that his partners have cancer. Push it so that he can't see the future anymore. Push it so that he's increasingly alienated from humanity. So this problem that is so weighing one side of the equation will be gone. Like,
yeah, but that is what starts the conflict, because before he interferes with Dr. Manhattan, there wasn't a conflict. He could have just...
There was the fucking Cold War.
Hey, let me ask this about, I guess, the conclusion of Ozymandias' plan, because he tricks the world into thinking Dr. Manhattan nuked New York, and then...
And Moscow.
Cities, a bunch of cities.
Right. So then Russia and, I guess, the USSR and the United States decide to join forces and end the Cold War to possibly fight Dr. Manhattan. So ultimately, I guess the message is that Ozymandias was right and that this godlike human should go live on Mars, or what?
Well, I mean,
Okay.
The obvious thing here is that the comic is just self-congratulatory, and it says, my conclusion is correct in the end. But how's
the movie different? Like, how's the ending of the movie different from the book?
No,
the message of both. The message of both is that in order for us to not be at each other's throats, we need another force to be angry at and unite to be against. So in the comic, he says it was all Dr. Manhattan. He nuked a bunch of cities. In the comic book, Ozymandias,
it's aliens.
Well, Ozymandias creates this fictional alien race, transports an actual living creature that he designed himself into the middle of New York. It like kills a bunch of people in New York, and he essentially says a bunch of aliens have attacked us. We should go against these aliens that he made up. Like, I mean, the reason that the story is so good is that it punts. It doesn't tell you who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
Like Ozymandias gets away with it. And Ozymandias, literally, who calls himself the smartest man on Earth, he did find a way to end the Cold War. Like, he did it. He did the thing he said he was going to do. But, but at the same time,
if he would have waited just a couple decades, it would have fizzled out anyway, like in real life.
Well,
so all those people didn't need to die.
I think it wouldn't have. I think by having this superpowered God person involved, we were going to end with nuclear holocaust. That is another one of the interesting things about this fucking movie is that the reason the Cold War happens and we almost go and all life on Earth almost dies is because of Dr. Manhattan. It's because he exists and he joined the US government. So it's kind of like a story about how violence begets violence, and violence is cyclical. Like, fucking Rorschach is going around punching people and terrifying them, and then they all get sent to jail where they're all violent animals anyway. So it's kind of like, Rorschach, what are you doing? Like, are you actually accomplishing anything? And that's the thing these guys all ask themselves. They're like, are we stopping the bad guys? Are we accomplishing anything? Or are we just all a bunch of frustrated guys getting our dicks off? The comedian is
arguably the most sane character in the books and the movies because he realizes it's all a joke and he's just gonna have fun.
He is clown pill to stereos.
That's what I'm saying.
Fuck yeah.
He like literally like a clown. He is a comedian.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. So like there's all these different philosophies in the book and none of them are right. Kind of like in real life.
Well, and ultimately it's like, is it better to have a lie that unites the world and could possibly be revealed to have been a lie and everything breaks down because it was revealed? Or is it better to reveal that immediately and deal with the fallout from that? Because essentially Rorschach's entire journal that lays out exactly what happened is in the hands of this New Frontiersman editor dude, and they can publish it and hear about this entire conspiracy to unite the world, or they couldn't. Like, what is the better choice there?
Yeah, like
the thing is that they're not going to get taken seriously anyways because they're just conspiracy theories anyways, right?
I don't know.
The
It
New
depends.
Frontiersmen.
It depends.
I mean, you've seen the kind of regard the newsstand has for this right-wing rag, as he calls it. You think that'll be taken serious? It'll probably be just like the 9/11 conspiracies.
Yeah, but it's so interesting because like, all right, so like fucking Adrian Veidt, he's the smartest man in the world. He seals up everything. Like he kills all of his henchmen. He fucking like he kills anybody who could possibly spill the beans on this. Like he's got this, but like the one thing he couldn't account for was that human beings are insane. And that this Rorschach guy wrote down everything in a book and then sent it to even crazier people.
Right.
Like and like, you know, to dismiss the rantings of the New Frontiersman, it's like there are people that absolutely believe Alex Jones. Like there may
one
not
of them's
be a
on this
lot of
podcast
them.
right now.
Oh no!
Who could it be? Which one of us?
It could be any one of us.
And like,
it's so interesting.
also, the truth is there. Like it is absolutely the truth. If any crazy person sees that and then is able to spread around what is actually true, that will win out in some way.
But he will literally just be that guy who has the shield that says "the end is nigh," which, by the way, I love how
He was right.
Well, no.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, the end of the war was nigh. I mean, if that's how you mean that he was right, then yeah.
I think Veidt is only kind of delaying the, like he is going to make this compromise move now, but either the truth will get out somehow, we'll go back to the same old shit we always do, or we'll understand that Dr. Manhattan is way more powerful than we'll ever be. Like it's possible I think at the end of the movie in the book he decides I'm going to fuck off to another galaxy or universe or whatever. So he possibly is just going to fuck off. But
yeah, and he literally decides to become God because he's like, I'm going to go off and create life, which is like what God did. Like, I'm going to go create some life and see what the fuck happens. You know, it's it's just there's so many fucking layers to this. All the characters are so interesting. They're all so fucking weird. Like, even something as like horrifying as sexual assault, this movie, like the book and the movie, looks at it in like a gray way where you're kind of like...
It's an awful thing that happened, but something good came out of it, essentially.
Yeah, and like if you wrote that in a tweet right now, you'd get murdered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, fucking goddamn this guy, what's his name that made this goddamn, that wrote the book?
Alan Moore.
Yeah, Alan Moore, he's like such a complex, fucked up, layered guy. It's just, it's so, and like every time you read the fucking Watchmen comic, like you learn something new even 30 years later. Wow. It's just really good. It's a really good story.
It's pretty unrealistic to me that Dr. Manhattan wouldn't comprehend that every single human being is the product of billions of different sperm trying to go against billions of different eggs. And like, that is all just common pretty much knowledge. Like the fact that would be so fascinating to him seems kind of dumb.
How is it fascinating to him? What's that referring to?
It completely changes. Like he essentially sees Laurie breaking down about the comedian being her father, and like Dr. Manhattan essentially says, like, you are such a chance happening based on a chance happening, and you react to all of these things in your own specific way, and you are special as a human being. The entirety of humanity is special because it's so unlikely, and that's what brings him back to Earth, essentially.
Okay, we dipped our toes into discussing the actual film and not just like penises and stuff. We got at least 10 minutes about the film, so I'm glad. I want to pivot away and ask you guys if you've heard anything about, I think, HBO or some company is making a Watchmen series. What are your hopes and dreams with this show?
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Do we know anything about it, like casting or directors or anything?
Damon Lindelof, the man behind Lost, the man behind The Leftovers, is going to work on this show. And I cannot fucking wait because The Leftovers is my favorite show of all time.
Yeah.
I've never seen Lost, so it's possible he's the guy who fucks everything up all the time.
Asterios, have you auditioned to play the comedian in this new show?
I'm not in nearly that kind of shape. I think they should just bring Jeffrey Dean Morgan in because he's on such a roll right now with The Walking Dead. It's like everybody fucking loves that guy. You know, kind of the same people who want what's his name brought back as Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's like a fucking slam dunk to bring him back.
Right.
What do you think this series can do, E-Rich or Asterios, that will make it unironic kino and a good interpretation of the book that doesn't make us sort of cringe in our seats, unlike Florian, who loves it?
I think the huge thing this has in its corner is that it is not going to be an adaptation of the comic. I think it's using a lot of the themes and a lot of the interesting parts of the Watchmen book that are inherent to that and bring it into a TV format and bring it into a modern day perspective rather than like using the 80s iconography and that kind of stuff. So I think that building something out of that conceptual space is a good idea, especially in Damon Lindelof's hands. So I'm interested to see what he makes of it.
Asterios, are you hoping that they bring back the Twin Towers for this new series?
I mean, Damon Lindelof has a lot more tact than fucking Zack Snyder.
Wow.
This is Zack Snyder's most mature film, and it's because he copied someone else's work exactly like a fucking blueprint. Like, 300, same thing. Like, he copied a much better comic book, you know?
All of the amazing visuals that you love in this movie are from that comic book that you don't like the art style of. Like, he just basically held up the comic book, said, make this in a computer, and they did that.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
I'm not talking about art direction. I mean, the comic is displaying cool stuff. It's just not drawn that well enough for my taste.
Yeah, it's kind of
especially
like
after seeing the movie.
It reminds me of The Binding of Isaac, where like, sure, you can tell me it's a good game, but I just think it's ugly as hell, and whoever made it probably didn't know what they were doing art direction wise, you know?
Damn. Got him.
Did you say got him?
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
The last thing is like I gotta go too. I know you guys gotta go. But it's like the art itself is a reference to 1950s like newspaper comics. Like every page of Watchmen has 9 boxes,
9 panels. Yep.
Yeah,
wow.
because it's like a comic strip. So like that's the thing. Like I know when you see the art, you're kind of like, oh, this kind of looks like shit. But like there is a point to it. Even like if you don't like it, don't like it. But I'm just telling you the intent.
But the layout of it, like everything is so perfectly like situated there. And if you read through it several times, you will notice things, patterns and recurring symbols and themes, like all of that stuff. It is so perfectly baked into this comic. And it's something you kind of can't do in a movie. In this comic, you can go back to things and see common recurring elements and page back through it and look at them. And you kind of can't, like, that is what makes Watchmen a truly defining piece of the genre. And that's what makes the Watchmen movie kind of some forgettable superhero movie from the late 2000s.
All right, boys, we just had a hearty discussion about a big superhero team-up movie. So I say, a week from today, we come back onto the kino and do it again with motherfucking Avengers Endgame, baby! Oh! No.
Now I will actually go see it on time. I usually see these movies 5 weeks after they come out, just because But no, I'll go see Avengers on. Yeah, all right, let's do this.
Whenever the four of us have seen the movie and can kino it, I think that no better way to send off E-Rich on a good note than to have, the four kino podcasters who are not currently under house arrest should return and talk about the climactic ending to Marvel, folks. That's right.
I cannot wait for this guy. I am so goddamn excited. I thought that movie was so fucking good, the Infinity War #1.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel was so great, it got me hyped up for this new one. I really can't wait. Everything about it's going to be perfect. Why are you guys laughing? What's so funny?
Nothing.
Are they going to stop making Marvel movies after this? Surely not.
They're making
really the ending.
The important, interesting characters are getting their own TV shows on Disney Plus, so you can torrent those the day they come out.
And also, Spider-Man Far From Home comes out 2 months later.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been having to pee for about 45 minutes since
let's go.
Dick.
I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.
Do you want to plug anything, Asterios?
No, you guys all know my URL by now. I love you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Podcast.
See you,
the loudest
Asterios.
podcast in Boomer versus Zoomer.
Yeah. Listen to the Boomer vs. Zoomer podcast. It's me and Mumkey every week. It's fun. Listen to it. It's on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play. You love it. All right. Bye, everybody. I love you guys.
Bye, Asterios.
Bye, Asterios.
E-Rich, Florian, boys. Like we've been saying, it's our penultimate episode with the three original Peaches. Mm-hmm. Very.
Florian's been here since the very beginning.
That's me. I wasn't on it, but I've listened to it.
I think the first time Florian came in was it was like episode 20 or 30 for that movie where the weather was killing people. What was that?
Oh, yeah.
Geostorm.
Was that your first kino outing?
Yeah, I think that must have been the first one.
What a kino storm it was. I think that's when we learned, I guess it would have been the only opportunity to learn if it was the first time, but Florian recanted the story of how the minorities at his theater were well behaved.
Yeah.
That was not that one.
Which one was it?
I don't remember.
So many.
It must have been Black Panther, really.
So many great webs have been weaving with the three of us in the last, I guess, year or so, and it's all going to come to a big end game very soon.
Say it correctly, Florian. Say Black Panda.
Black Panda.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, perfect. I guess this is the penultimate episode of Breaking Bad called Granite State. This is the Granite State episode. This is the one where it goes on 20 minutes longer than a usual episode, but it's just, I guess, Walt alone watching Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Mm-hmm. That's what this was.
Next week will be Felina.
Next week is our Felina. E-Rich, do you have any big plans for your final kino outing until, I guess, the very next month when John Wick comes out?
I assume I'm going to get fucking shit-faced, so look
What?
How unprofessional. Oh my god. And all the children will hear of you being drunk. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, folks, if you're curious how we're continuing the show without E-Rich, we have been conducting a big interview process. People are submitting their voice applications to enter a contest, tournament bracket style, to become the new E-Rich, to replace him on this show. So if you want to tune in to us listening to some of the applications or to see the ones that have already come in, go to twitch.tv/MumpkeyJones and hit that follow button. Boys, where can people find you online? Even though I think, E-Rich, you said you're deleting everything soon.
Yeah, I'm deleting everything, so you don't have to look for me anywhere.
Well, surely you're still going to post some stuff on the E-Rich channel until Endgame, right? You guys aren't doing your Sunday fun day like usual?
He's skipping on me.
This week. I'm fucking busy, man.
Wow. What was the final Florian E-Rich live stream about?
There will probably be one final one. We were going to do A Simple Life and The Hottie or the Naughty.
Oh boy, that's the Paris Hilton movie?
Yeah, the Paris Hilton movie and the original.
Yeah. No, I'm very familiar with The Hottie and the Naughty.
Oh really? Is it as bad as we expect?
Oh, I haven't seen it. I'm just familiar.
Oh damn, not very familiar then.
Okay, so if you want to find E-Rich, too bad he's deleting his internet history next week.
You can binge him now, I guess.
Yeah, go download everything quick. And Florian, where can people find you?
Yeah, everyone check out Game Squid on YouTube. You made a big rant about Shazam, all the stuff I didn't manage to get a word in the podcast.
Yeah, I was really upset.
Oh, fuck you. You didn't properly develop your fucking thoughts at that point, you shit.
Yeah, me and Erich were upset that Florian makes this 20-minute video ranting about Shazam, and he brings up all these funny points. And then I listened back to our Kino episode. He didn't say a fucking word the whole time. Where was that Florian at when it was me profiting from his work? Where was he?
Well, there you go. Now you had me ranting for like a long time about all these things. So
what I should literally do is cut and paste segments of your video into the iTunes upload of the podcast and make it as seamless as possible, but we're just ignoring all your points.
Lumpy and I looked up and shouted, "Save us," and you whispered, "No."
And with that, I think we will bid you a fond farewell, folks, for Is It Kino number Who Can Say, Erich's penultimate outing until he comes back the very next month. And then again for Should we briefly talk about Star Wars, since I think we'll be busy next episode?
Oh yeah, wow, this is going to be the longest episode ever.
Well, Erich, everybody knows you love, you're unapologetic about your love for Star Wars. Give us your thoughts on the trailer and the Rise of Skywalker name.
So I was there. I was at Star Wars Celebration when the trailer
in Chicago.
Debuted. I was in Chicago with all the fucking Star Wars nerds.
Oh shit!
Watching this shit. Everybody knows that I dislike The Force Awakens, and I was very, very upset when J.J. Abrams is coming back for Episode 9. But I fucking love the trailer, boys.
Oh! What about the name? Baby. You don't think the name is a little fan fiction-y?
The name is awful. It would be better if they just changed the title to Rise of the Skywalker rather than The Rise of Skywalker. But it is a bad title. It's probably the worst title in the entire series at this point.
Yeah, the acronym, like, it would have fit poetically with 3 and 6, but now it's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Wow. The acronym.
Yeah, the acronym. It's poetry, Florian. It rhymes. Okay, that's Erich's take on that fucking Star Wars trailer. For Is It Kino, I have been Monkey Jones.
I remain Erich. I've grown tired of the podcast, these people.
Damn. And I'm Florian.
I can't remember the rest of the fucking thing.
Thank God Discord is glitching out on him as he gives us a rude goodbye.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.
Damn.
Bye.
Goodbye.